It is 3:03. We're going to call the regular meeting of the Del Norte Local Transportation Commission to order. Would you all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? And pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll now take up public comment. Anyone wishing to make public comments regarding matters either on or off the agenda and within the Commission's jurisdiction may do so at this time. However, the Commission is not permitted to act on non-agenda items. Do we have any public comment? Okay. Seeing none, we will adjourn to the Policy Advisory Committee and take up our consent agenda. These items are considered routine in nature and voted on in one motion. Consider public comments. We have our minutes from November 5th, the Overall Work Program Amendment 1, and the Regional Transportation Improvement Program. Is there any public comment? Okay.
Move for approval.
There we go.
Second.
Motion and a second. Would you please poll the vote?
Okay, Commissioner Inscore.
Yes.
Commissioner Kime.
Yes.
Commissioner Hemmington.
Yes.
Policy Advisory Member Kevin Tucker, I'm sorry.
Yes.
And Chair Fallman.
Yes. Consent agenda passes. We'll now take up our policy and administrative section, item D, our 2018-19 audit. Director Layton.
As we always hope, this audit is very boring. Oftentimes, though, I put it on the regular agenda, and we did not have a finance committee meeting beforehand because I had come to realize we don't have a finance committee.
Yeah, I thought I was on the finance committee too.
I don't think so. I don't think that
Thank you for volunteering, both of you.
Right?
Yeah,
No, Jerry is on the finance committee, but we generally have a city and a county member. So, Alex, if you remember that you were?
I can remember being at a finance committee meeting
Okay.
before.
Okay, and maybe that, I will go back and look at the notes, but if I can't find it in the minutes, and I couldn't, so I'll go back and look at our minutes. The last note I have is, I believe Darren was on the finance committee.
Okay.
I remember Darren being on it.
Yeah.
I apologize, I don't remember being on it at a meeting.
With it, yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
and we could have invited Alex because he was the chair at the time, I'm not sure.
That might have been it.
So I put it on the full agenda rather than having the finance committee to look at it. In the past years, sometimes that finance committee meeting, if we have other things to talk about, we can meet for maybe 45 minutes. But typically going over an audit without any concerns or findings is a 10-minute meeting, so I'm comfortable with this. So our audit again this year was somewhat of a struggle to get the audit delivered on time from our consultants. It was a struggle last year also, and we just are going to continue to go through this. I talked about discontinuing the contract when we had so much difficulty last year, and that really isn't a viable solution according to council. She said, she just really recommended against it, along with our performance auditors who said, basically, at the end of the day, if you ended up with an audit that was accepted by the state, then they're meeting the contract, even though it took a significant amount of my time and Matt's time to get the audit correct. So it was not quite so difficult this year, but still challenging and still much later than the schedule that they provided that they would follow. So
How long were we under contract with Harshwell and Company?
3 years.
And this is the second
Second.
or third?
This is the second of 3 years. So we'll probably go through one more year, unless the commission directs me otherwise. But last year, the commission directed me to follow up and see if there were options, and I did that. And absent options, we did not make a change, at least absent options that were advised by both council and the performance auditor.
And the paperwork that they make us fill out, the fraud and the conflict of interest paperwork, I'm just curious if they're looking for some specific answers or something. I mean, I made mine pretty simple.
No, the answers are pretty simple.
Well, most of them are yes and no, but then they ask you you know, if you're directly involved in this or not, or whatever, and I just was wondering if the form could all be changed to yes and no answers.
Excuse me. Each process is different by the auditing firm.
Right.
So different auditing firms do it in a different way. Neither this year nor last year, had an audit interview by the auditor, which I find unusual. But that's the way they do that. I mean, and the audit interview, for me, there's a question that says, is there anything of concern for you?
Right.
It's open-ended, lets me express any concern that floating around in my brain that I may have. I don't have any concerns right now. So, if I had concerns, it would be up to me to request an audit interview or something, I'm not sure what. But we had Hunter and Hunt, as an example, had a very different process, very different questions, and very much more engaged in the audit process, getting it right, that kind of thing. This audit is right. I don't have any concerns about the accuracy of this audit.
And I wasn't concerned with that either. I mean, this started, and I don't remember if it started with the Transportation Commission, these letters, or with the airport, and I don't know who started with who, but now I get one from the airport, I get one from here.
Is
I get,
Harshwell doing the Border Coast Regional Airport?
and they're doing the counties.
And they do the county, and they do solid waste management
Yes,
authority.
so
I mean,
we got a whole bunch of them, so.
Yeah.
Seems like that with as many people as many entities here that they're doing, that we ought to be able to
Somebody should
encourage them to be a little bit more responsive if they want to maintain these contracts. I mean,
Well, I think there's very few of them around that want to do them anymore, the audits.
Well,
see,
we haven't had trouble getting fiscal auditors. We
really?
haven't had trouble. I mean, it takes some work in.
did our RFP.
Yeah, in posting an RFP and whatever. It takes some work. I make some phone calls. I reach out to my colleagues. I encourage people to provide a proposal, but it's,
Did everybody on the Transportation Commission, just because I didn't, did everyone receive the fraud questionnaire?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah,
Did you?
I got it back to you, didn't I?
You didn't get one? See, now I got one from Harshwell.
Oh, you don't get them.
I don't receive them.
For solid waste, but I didn't get one for transportation, so I'm wondering, are they actually putting it out to
everyone?
to all, I mean, they should put it out to the entire commission. Doesn't do any, unless they consider it random sampling, they
Maybe.
just choose two
Just
commissioners
choose,
and ask.
oh yeah, we got this guy, so I'll get them all.
I don't, my concerns are not about whether this is an accurate
Right.
audit.
their process.
My concerns are, is it a thorough process?
Yeah.
But I don't have any concerns right now. I mean, that's at the basis of it. That was the question back to me. Do you have any concerns that are not being covered in your audit that should be? No. Well, then we're good.
All right.
Well, I think the contract that we have with Charlo, Benz and Hartwick changes the whole dynamics of that now. I mean, it's going from one CPA to another CPA and.
CBH is just, I mean, in terms of an efficient organization, they've been one of the best decisions the Transportation Commission has made over time is to have CBH be taking care of our finances. It just is really efficient for us.
And speaking of that, is there anybody else that can sign checks?
Alex Fallman can sign checks, as the
He
board chair.
must not be available very often.
Well, he's left-handed, so I mean, I don't know how much that goes.
Well, if I cannot find in our past meetings where we have
I
a
don't mind.
city
It's
representative.
close to me and I can usually get over there. It's
Yeah,
just
the-
sometimes I forget and they have to call me a couple of times, but
It's once a month.
it gets done.
But I will put it on a future agenda to have a city representative of the Finance Committee. And so that would be an appointment by our board chair. In February, we change board chairs, by the way,
Okay?
typically the month. So I have no concerns about the audit. The numbers are represented as there should be. They should be. There are no finding. It meets all of the requirements of law. Matt and I have gone through this individually and sitting down together talking about the numbers. So the numbers in the audit are sort of pooled in ways, combined in ways that sometimes are difficult to understand, and that's why I sit down with Matt together and say, I don't get what this number is. And he sits down and says, oh, it's that number and this number combined because these are both this kinds of funds, that kind of thing. So, so I have confidence, I have a complete confidence that the numbers in the audit are accurate, and my staff recommendation is that we accept it. I send it out to the state, have it filed by the end of the year, and wrap it up.
Move to accept.
Second.
I mean, there's a motion and a second for it. We can take up the motion, but the staff recommendation is just to adopt by consensus. Do we still want to go through with the motion then?
That's fine. We don't, it doesn't need to be a
Yeah,
pulled
it doesn't-
vote
yeah.
to.
Well, just all in favor?
Yep. Okay. And there's consensus.
Yep.
Public comment, seeing none, we'll move on to our discussion items. Last chance grade.
I have no updates for last chance grade at this time.
Okay. Elk Valley Crossroad.
I have no updates for the US 199 intersection at Elk Valley Crossroad either at this time.
Okay. Commissioner comments and reports? Nothing?
Got nothing?
Okay. Seeing none, we will adjourn back to the Delmar Local Transportation Commission and take action on our policy and administrative items.
Move to approve the actions taken.
Second.
Motion and a second. Will you please pull the vote?
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion passes. We will adjourn to our next regular scheduled meeting in 2020.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
The roaring 20s, huh?